Mexico. I thought it was going to be a nothing more than a vacation, but it ended up kind of being on a mission. And God puts people in your path. Here we are on Monday night, and at Monday night we are always doing Renew Recovery Community, and we feel that this is the bridge to your recovery. And I didn't realize that bridge reached all the way to Mexico, but it did, because I met people just talking to them. And just talking to them, it doesn't matter if it's in Mexico or Sweetwater, Tennessee, people struggle. Yes, people are going to struggle. And so we're going to try to talk about a few things here and try to help some people as they go along as we move through. Tonight, I want to tell you, I'm thankful to be home, but I'm glad that you're home. Whether we've got a crowd here in person or those of you who are online. You're going to have a treat tonight with our speaker, but I want to welcome you for coming. I want to ask you up front as we go through this, because there are going to be those that need to hear what is going to be said tonight. And so I want you to like our page, Renew Recovery Community, and I want you to share it. And if you're, even right now, if you know someone who is struggling, I want you to pick up the phone and call them. And get them online to Renew Recovery Community so that they can see and hear what we're talking about. Always come. We just got through having a great meal, which we do every Monday night. So we want to invite you, if you're anywhere close by Sweetwater, come down and sit and talk with us. We fellowship one with another and just laugh a lot and have a good time, but fill up our bellies as well. Tonight, as I said, we're going to welcome somebody that when I first moved to Sweetwater about a little over 3 years ago now. She was the youth minister here, and I don't know how youth ministers do it. They work all the time, and I remember I was a kid. Kids are crazy sometimes, but they keep you busy. But she's going on to do other things and is working in prison ministry now and doing some things like that. But Chrissy is going to come and she's going to talk to us. I don't know that any of us have not dealt with some of the topics that she might talk about, but I've given her free rein, whatever you want to talk about. But we're going to talk about forgiveness, and we're going to talk a little bit about overcoming. And I just asked her before we went live, you ever overcome anything? Yeah, a few things. As well as all of us. That's what we're trying to do, to overcome some things. So without further ado, help me welcome Chrissy Talbot.
Hello. Hello. I can honestly say I am not used to being Facebook Live, but hello to everybody out there, and especially to you that are here. So I want to thank you for letting me come over. It is so exciting to be back at Sweetwater First Baptist. I feel like I'm at home again. Forgive my voice. I have 8 grandkids, 6 and under, and they're passing around whatever this crud is. And I'm not sick, but my voice said sayonara yesterday. So I will do my best to be understood. But we're super excited, and we want to thank First Baptist for hosting this. This is a really neat thing. And for them to be able to open their doors to this is awesome. Okay, so when Roger asked me to come and speak, I said, what are you learning? Are you going through Celebrate Recovery materials, things like that? And he's like, yeah, we kind of loosely go through some of that. And I said, okay, so what are you learning? He said, well, the week right before you're coming is going to be forgiveness. And I was just very excited because, like he said, I work in the jails on Thursday nights. I go into the jails in my county and talk to some of the girls. And I had taught the forgiveness lesson this summer. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this is a slam dunk. I've got this one. I'll grab my notes. I'll go back through it. Everything will be great. It'll all be easy. And then God stepped in and said, no, let's just turn this up a little bit. And the next thing Roger said was, well, they're going to have the lesson the week before you. So yours is a testimony on forgiveness. And I'm like, so you can make faces on the phone and they don't see those. So you can make all these faces on the phone and I'm like, okay, a forgiveness testimony, that's a different spin. And I started thinking about, okay, forgiveness. You automatically go to when I've been hurt and needed to forgive somebody, when I've been disappointed and needed restoration, when I've been angry and needed reconciliation, but I was really struggling to land on a specific thing to actually talk about. You see, I grew up in a Leave It to Beaver home. Those are not normal in a lot of people's lives nowadays. But I grew up in a small town smaller than Sweetwater. I grew up in a middle-class family. My daddy went to work. My mama did the carpool. She did the costumes. She did the birthday parties. I was saved as a young child and loved Jesus my whole life. My parents have been married for 55 years. My grandparents were married until the day they died. I've been married 33 years. Didn't grow up with abuse in my past. Never used illegal drugs. Don't drink alcohol. Don't have a criminal record. I've never even had a speeding ticket. I did everything right. So why am I here? What could I possibly have to say? Let's go way back to 1999. We're going to rewind. I was a young mom in my 20s, and I was chasing God and His will for me as hard as I knew how. And I was sitting in a dorm room at New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary studying women's ministry because I knew what I was going to do. And God laughed at that and sent me into youth ministry. But anyway, I was there with a friend who had become a trusted mentor later on. And she asked me a question that rocked my world. We were having just this random conversation, and she sits up and she says, "Why are you so angry?" And of course, my spine straightened. "I'm not angry. What makes you think I'm angry? What in the world would give you any?" She says, "Exhibit 1. Okay, so she rolled over and goes to sleep, and I sat there and wrestled. And I have wrestled for almost 30 years with that question. Why is my default anger? I had it all. I had the perfect upbringing. I had a great marriage. I had kids. I had Jesus. I had what everybody says everybody should have. Why was my default anger? In the spring of 2022, just last year, I was leading the youth group here, and this spring I had invited all different people in to speak to our teenagers. Well, this one peppy little lady named Nikki came in, and she gave a great talk. And you know, I'm the leader, so I'm taking notes so I can discuss it with the kids. And God hits me square between the eyes with a statement that answered that question. She simply said, "You need to stop shoulding on yourself." Her talk was about how we talk to ourselves and beat ourselves up about what we should do or should be. And in that moment, God showed me that I was angry at myself. At all this time, I was looking at what others had done. The voice inside of me constantly said, "That's not good enough. I should have done it this way. I wish I had done this instead. I'm not tall enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not fill in the blank. I'm not that enough." How many of y'all have ever heard that in your head? I'm not good enough. This inner voice, this inner critic, had stolen all the joy in my perfect life and left me with a very angry inside. My anger came from inside of me. It was from unmet and often unrealistic expectations. You see, in CR, and I'm sure in Renew, you learn that everyone has hurts, everyone has hang-ups, and everyone has habits. My shoulds led to anger, led to a life of addiction. I may not be addicted to street drugs, may not be addicted to alcohol, but that does not mean I'm not addicted to something. My unmet expectations and those negative voices have to be dealt with. And my drug of choice is food. My white addictive substance is sugar, flour, and dairy. I don't inject my stress. I eat it. Some years I lean on God, and I think we're doing okay. Scales read what I want, mirror looks like I want, the label on the clothes reads small, because that's what we're told we should be. And then there are years like last year where I completely relapsed, where stress was raging, My shoulds lost out to the sugar. My joints started to ache, sleep is not restful, and the label reads large. The shoulds in my head are now screaming. Negative thoughts invade in force, and my self-esteem tanks. Addiction is a beast, no matter what it is. Drugs and alcohol, the food, excessive exercise, eating disorders, compulsive disorders are all destructive in their own rights. Addiction in any form and every form is debilitating. The shoulds in our head are loud and vicious. I know I'm forgiven by God, and I've spent 30 years forgiving others and trying to figure myself out. But the forgiveness that we're going to talk about tonight, I need to forgive myself. This is my hardest journey. So as you know, in Celebrate Recovery and a lot of this, they use acrostics in their lessons to help us learn what we're learning. Tonight I'm using the word forgive. F, first. Me first. I have to start with me. I can't laugh it off. I can't use excuses, and I can't rationalize. There is no hiding. My problem is not with others. My problem is with me. Oh, I have to be okay. I have to be okay with the me of today, the me in the mirror, not the me of my shoulds. And I have to open my hands. I have to let go of the hurt and the disappointments and the frustrations. R, redeem, replace, and restore. Jesus wants to redeem our life. Psalm 72:14. He will redeem them from oppression and violence, for their lives are precious to him. We are precious. No matter what we look like in the mirror, no matter what decision we made last night, no matter what mistakes we've made today, we are precious, and God wants to redeem us. Replace. He wants to replace those negative, critical voices screaming in our heads. Romans 12:2, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Finally, and restore. Restore the joy to our lives. Psalms 51:12, restore to me the joy of our salvation and make me willing to obey you. You see, it's all in his word. We just happen to get away from his word and too much into our heads. Back to our acrostic of G, give. We've got to give God the yuck. And we got to be honest that there's yuck in life. There's yuck inside my head. There's yuck in our days. We've got to give God the yuck and give him the ugly thoughts, the need to revenge, the want to pay back, the need to hear the apologies. Give God the shoulds. I, invest in your future today. One of my favorite sayings, and I love this, is do something today that your future self will thank you for. Doesn't have to be big, just one thing. Do one little thing today that your future self will say thank you for. And then tomorrow, do one more little thing that your future self will thank you for. This comes straight from my mentor, V. Voraciously read your Bible. Now, I had to look that up because I'm a small town girl. Voraciously is a very big word. It means to have an endless appetite. And we don't always have the time to sit down and read our Bibles, but you know, technology today is amazing. You can have an app that's absolutely free, and you hit play, and it's going to read it to you. You don't read well, you don't like all those names, you don't like all those big words, fine, hit play. Hit play. Somebody much smarter than all of us is going to sit and read all that to you, because the last time I checked, Hebrew and Greek was not taught in our school system. So we let it read to us. but read to it and listen to it and read it, because that's our lifeline. That is the only thing we have to hold on to. Told you I had 8 grandkids, 6 and under. So we do a lot of little kids songs in our house because when they're around all the time, they like music. How many of you all grew up hearing the song, the B-I-B-L-E? Did you grow up with that one? Well, they've got a group now that's updated versions for the kids nowadays. So it starts out the first 3 or 4 times with the B-I-B-L-E, just like we grew up with it. And then they add a second chorus in there, which I really love. And it says, B, read it backwards, read it forwards, read it backwards. I, for your insides, for your outsides, for your insides. B makes you brave, makes you bold, makes you brave. L-E, love forever, ever, ever. That is something that we need to hang on to. We need to read it. Forwards and backwards, doesn't matter where you start, just start. When you finish, start again. Okay? And read it, read it, read it. I love acronyms, which is what we're doing tonight, but Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. You want to know how to do this life well. The only way to do this life well is with our Bibles. It's our instruction manual. E, enjoy. Enjoy something each day. Choose to find something good. We can so get wrapped up in our down spiral of negative because life can be negative. Our brains can go negative. But we can pick one thing each day that was good. For me, I love sunrises. I love to open that front door, feel the crisp morning air. It is still, it is quiet, and I can stand there for just 5 minutes and watch God say, good morning, I love you. And he uses the water and the light to paint a glorious picture every single morning as we wake up. I don't know what your one thing is. Find your one thing. If you were to go through my phone, you would obviously know that and my grandkids are my one thing, because that's all the pictures in my phone. Find something to enjoy. Is every day successful? No. If every day were successful, none of us would be sitting here. Nobody would be watching. Nobody would need recovery. Each day brings its own hard. Some days are hard and good. Some days are hard and bad. Every day has its hard. My prayer for you this week is that you will be able to lean on God a little bit more, quiet the voices for a little while longer, and that you would be able to forgive yourself one moment at a time.
You know, you didn't say a whole lot, but you said a whole lot.
Thank you.
And it's the kind of things you saw me, I was writing notes, that I'm going to use that in small group, but it's the kind of thing, my word, the guys can tell you, what's my word? Ponder. I want you to ponder on these things. And so you've caused me to want, as I leave here, there's a lot of things you put in there that I want to ponder about. And I know that you are too, those of you who are out there that weren't able to be here with us. She hit on some things that touch every one of us. And it doesn't really matter. Because when we say recovery, so many people want to just pigeonhole that to alcohol and drugs, but it's not. As Chrissy said, it can be food. I can relate to that. It makes me feel good for the moment. Right then. But later I feel terrible. And I, just as it would with alcohol and drugs, I start having the guilt, the shame, all of that. So she's put some things out there to us that we probably need to think about a little bit more. Because I think it affects all of us. And it rolled into forgiving. And we've said here many times, and you touched on that, before we can forgive anybody else, who we got to forgive? Ourselves. And that sometimes is really, really hard. Because we don't want to forgive ourselves. We don't feel worthy of forgiveness. But you are worthy. Hear me. Each one of us are worthy. You don't make no crowd. Every one of us were created uniquely, and we have a purpose, and we're part of His plan. Again, thank you. Come back anytime. You got good stuff. And these guys like it because it's quick and boom. It comes in. It's like one of those people come in and hit you right quick and leave. And go, wait, what just happened to me? So I want to thank you for coming. I would ask you to come and bring somebody with you. You may be sitting there, my friends that watch us from Florida, my friends over in North Carolina, my friends that are out in Texas. We've got them all over the country that watch every week. And I want to thank you for being so diligent and consistent with watching and commenting. We would ask all of you, if you have questions, comment. But also reach out to somebody else to give them the opportunity to hear these words. It's amazing when you're standing up here or you're preparing. Let's go back a little bit. Because I laugh. Because it happens to me every time I speak. Well, not every time, but about every time. I've got what I'm going to talk about. But then God has a different plan. He goes, nah, not this week. Yeah, let's flip that a little bit. And it's amazing because then you come and you talk. When you're talking with your friends and you're going, why did that conversation go that direction? And things just come out of your mouth. And you're sitting there scratching your head and going, why did I do that? And then a little later on, the individual that you're talking to goes, that was just for me. How did you know I needed to hear that? That was exactly what I needed to hear tonight. And so it is with many of you heard what Chrissy said. So please share our webpage, Renew Recovery Community. Let others speak. Come back and be with us next week. Invite others to join us as we do this. So until next week, as we always leave you when I'm here, I love you, but God loves you so much more. Till next week, good night.